Good evening, good evening, good evening. Hey, folks, hey, folks, hey, folks. Listen, I got a surprise for you today. Somebody is coming on here, a very famous somebody is coming on here just shortly. Listen, you stick with me, I'm telling you. Somebody's coming on here who's going to drop some knowledge and drop some words that's going to absolutely blow your mind, right? So if you can, tell everybody you know, ooh, we about to have a very famous surprise. A very famous surprise. Yes, 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 yes. So come on in, come on in, come on in, come on in. Yes, come on in. All you got to do is come on in. Check me out, check me out, check me out. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. I'm trying to make sure everybody can see me. Everybody can hear me, right? Yes. All right. Yes, good, yes, good, yes, good, yes, good, yes, good. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on in Sombi? Yes. What's going on, Gianna? Hey. What's going on, Asanam? How y'all doing? What's up? What's up? Somebody really famous is on the way. I'm telling you, get ready. Hey, Carla. What's going on, Joanne? Aaron, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Ekyo, what's going on, dude? Hey, Ellen, how are you? What's going on, Terrell? Just good to see y'all. Just so good to see everybody. Lenice Littleton, what's happening? What's happening? How y'all doing? Obata, Obata. Yes. Imoy S-O-A Uno. Umi. Imoy S-A Uno. How you doing? How you doing? Yes. Linda, how you doing? Let me grab my water here. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. What's going on, Lepsia? Absolutely. Akachi. Hey, hey, hey. Somebody's coming in just a minute. Y'all better get ready. You better get ready. You better get ready. You better get ready. What's up, Charity Jackson? How you living? Y'all know this has been a hard year. Y'all, 2020 was a beast. But y'all, listen, everybody, I just want to encourage everybody to stick together. Y'all know what I'm saying? Like, stick together. Stick together. Call other people, right? Text other people. Whatever it is that you need to do, right? Stick together so we can survive this thing. We're going to survive it. We're going to survive it. We're going to survive it. Right? It seems like sometimes, we've been lonely. A lot of us have been by ourselves in our houses. But nonetheless, you got to always have somebody. Always have somebody. And everybody, call somebody. When you just think of someone and call them. You know what I mean? Ooh. Just when they fall in your spirit, just call them. And just make sure that they're doing okay and that they don't need anything. It's just called survival. Yes. It's called survival. Absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Thanks everybody for being here. Did I get rid of the echo? Did I get rid of it? I think I did. I think I've got rid of the echo. Did I get rid of the echo? Somebody tell me. What's going on, Naja? Somebody let me know if I got rid of the echo. I think I did. Okay. Okay, I'm good to go now. Okay. Okay, wonderful, fantastic. Thank y'all for being here, y'all. Thank y'all for being here. We appreciate you. What's going on, Olamide? What's going on? How you living? Yes, sir. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Kelile, what's going on, good sir? Absolutely. Baba Bakari, what's happening? What's happening? What's going on? Absolutely, positively, just good to see you, sir. Barbara Burke, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Kaya, love you, girl. Love you so much. Hadari Williams, appreciate you, my good brother. Always. Thank you so very, very much for your support. Ireife Oluwa, hey there. Love you, love you, love you. Kyle Fox, what's going on? Yes, thank y'all for being here. Thank y'all for being here. We got a special guest coming in a minute. In just a minute. So I'm just shouting out all my people first. And y'all, thank you all this past week. I was a little under the weather myself. Yes, yes, yes. And for a day or two there, I was just drained of energy. So I had to rest. Yes, that's right. I had to rest. And rest ain't nothing but holy. Am I talking good? Rest ain't nothing but holiness. Ooh, wee, ooh, wee, ooh, wee, ooh, wee. If you won't do it voluntarily, the Spirit will absolutely do it for you. What's going on, Madam Ife Tayo? What's going on? What's going on, Newly? What's going on, Mia Edwards? Everybody knows who Miss Mia Edwards is. Absolutely. For sure, for sure, for sure, for sure. Missy Malay. Mr. Ben Yancey, what's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Cousin Leon, what's happening, my good brother? How are you? Loving you, man. Appreciate it. Y'all might notice also that I got updated in terms of my internet. So I hope it looks clearer, looks crisper, right? I think it does. And there are no stops and interruptions. Man, what a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful joy that is. So here we are, here we are. Kamara Lawrence talking about some cod liver oil. I know, I've had it before. Ooh, that stuff is nasty. Ooh, that cod liver oil is, oh my God. But they used to give it to us as kids. Absolutely, absolutely. Yes, yes, yes. I can yell at Olakunde. What's going on, my brother? What's happening? What's happening? Oh, Seasway Eddie Yee. Yes, 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 yes. These magnificent young elders. I love all of you all so much. Y'all are so awesome. Where I think I want to start tonight is a quick libation to the one and the only, Cicely Tyson. Come on, somebody. The one and the only, Cicely Tyson. Wow. Ashe. Cicely Tyson literally opened doors in Hollywood for Black women actresses, especially dark-skinned women actresses and actors. Cicely Tyson, literally, y'all, is one of the best that we've ever had. Cicely Tyson starred in so many shows when I was a young person, and I was just enamored by her talent, by her gifting. I was just enamored by the intensity of her emotions. I watched a movie called Sounder, right? And it became one of my absolute favorite movies, primarily because it was a movie about these poor Black folks in the South, and that was very much me and my family. But Cicely Tyson brought so much dignity to the role, right? So much dignity to the role that I just said, my God, who is this woman? And then when I saw Roots, come on, somebody, huh? When I saw Roots, woo, Cicely Tyson killed me in Roots. She killed me in Roots. So yes, Roots, absolutely, absolutely. Cicely Tyson is in many other films too. One of my favorites of hers is a movie called The Autobiography of Miss Jane Pittman, where she played a 104-year-old woman, right, who was still living, a true story, right, in Louisiana. And she played it so well. Oh my God. Oh, she killed this role, right? The Autobiography of Miss Jane Pittman. There's a movie too, many people don't know, that Cicely Tyson starred in called The River Niger. So if y'all get a chance, check that out. The River Niger. Okay, check it out. The River Niger. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Cicely Tyson, James Earl Jones, Lou Gossett. Brilliant movie. Check it out. The River Niger. Ashe, ashe, ashe. Cicely Tyson also starred in a movie called A Lesson Before Dying. A Lesson Before Dying. Yes, Cicely Tyson. Yes, yes, yes. Mother Cicely. My God. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Cicely Tyson was in tons of things. I couldn't name them all. She was in Fried Green Tomatoes. Ashe. Yes, 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 yes. But more importantly, I'm celebrating Cicely Tyson for her willingness and the price she paid. The role she's turned down because she didn't want to be caricatured. The role she turned down because she didn't want to be made a buffoon of. I'm loving her because of her commitment to have dignity, right? And to have standard as she blazed a trail for folks coming behind her. We have now a Viola Davis because we had once a Cicely Tyson. Come on. Ashe, 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 ashe. My God. So amazing, so amazing. Cicely Tyson, rest easy. Rest in peace. Cicely Tyson, know that your name shall be called into eternity. There will never be a time when we call a libation and your name goes unspoken. You have done your work, great elder. You have absolutely blazed our path. All we have to do now is walk it. We honor you. Ashe, 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 oh, ashe. Today's topic, and again, somebody's coming in a minute. Somebody's coming in a minute, y'all. Somebody's coming in a minute. You better get ready. Somebody's coming in a minute. Today's topic, though, is the prison abolition movement. Some of you may have heard of it. Some of you may not have. And that is, there's a movement afoot right now in America to totally and absolutely overhaul the prison industrial complex in this country. And if not just overhaul, in some instances to get rid of it, to get rid of prisons altogether. Because prisons are supposed to be rehabilitating, but they're doing everything except that. So the prison abolition movement is a movement by conscious people saying there are ways, right, to do abolition, and there are ways to do rehabilitation, right, in such a way that would absolutely benefit human beings other than this torture that we're doing with our people in these jails and in these prisons. Y'all, this is important because most of the people in the prisons are our people. Absolutely. They're our people. And people seem to get joy out of locking up our people. Listen. People seem to get joy out of locking up our people. And in fact, what I want to do for just a second is I want to talk and show you, right, some Black political prisoners, right? And I want to pour a libation to these Black political prisoners, right? And these Black political prisoners are folks who have been imprisoned literally, for the last 40 and 50 years. And I want to call their names so that you have some sense, right, of who they are, so that you have some sense of the kind of power that the prison industrial complex has over Black life in America, right? Most of you all know the name. I'll start with this great gentleman, Mumia Abu Jamal. Mumia Abu Jamal, incarcerated since 1981, former Black Panther, accused of murdering a police officer in Philadelphia, and still imprisoned. Wow, ashe. Delbert, Africa, 72 years old, incarcerated since 1978. 1978, y'all. Accused of third-degree murder of a police officer. 30 years to life, and is still there. Eddie Goodman, Africa, incarcerated since 1978. Janet Holloway, Africa. A lot of these folks are from what's known as the MOVE movement in Philadelphia. Janet is 67, was incarcerated in 1978. Janine Phillips, Africa, age 62, incarcerated since 1978. Wow, just so many people. Brother Anthony Bottom, a former Black Panther, member of the Black Liberation Army, incarcerated in 1971. Mutulu Shakur, incarcerated in 1986. The list just goes on and on and on and on and on and on. And so many people. Sundiata Okulu is 80 years old and was been incarcerated since 1973. My God. Chuck Sims, Africa, incarcerated 1978. Michael Davis, Africa, incarcerated since 1978. Joseph Bowen, incarcerated since 1971. My God. Veronza Bowens, 1973. Y'all, these people literally are trying to figure out how to keep Blackness confined forever. You know what I mean? And what you got to really understand here, what you really have to understand is this notion of the imprisonment of Black people currently is an outgrowth of slavery. Most of y'all know this. This started way back when they first started having slave patrols, trying to catch Black folks, trying to keep Black folks under control. This was back when we were having slave insurrections, and they needed to do something about these Black people who was scaring, for all practical purposes, these white folks because of our actions and our behavior. So they needed to build these prisons and these prison walls in order to contain Black freedom. But I'm here to tell you right now, Black freedom will not be contained. It will not be contained. And I'm here also to tell us, y'all, where we have to be very careful as Black people. We have to be extremely careful as Black people, because we don't want to fall into the trap of thinking our own people are as guilty as white folks think we're guilty. It's very tricky. It doesn't mean no one Black is guilty. It does not mean that. It doesn't mean that. What it means is you can be guilty, or you can be problematized, right, without being criminalized. And the thing I want us as Black people to do is not to criminalize our own people, even when our own people get in trouble. See, we've got to, we've got to be able to have kids who get in trouble, but we don't turn into criminals, and we don't see them as criminals. Y'all see what I mean? We have to be able to be very clear, that just because a child struggles, or just because a child let's say a child stole something from the store, they really might have stolen it. But that doesn't make them a thief. Some people will disagree with me. It does not make them a thief. It means that you need to correct yourself, son, daughter. You need to correct yourself, and you need to take that back to the store. See, that's how the old folks did back in the day. Woo! Daddy and them would say, listen, you did what? Oh, okay. We're going right back up to this store. Let's go. Absolutely. Because they knew you weren't a criminal, and they didn't intend for you to believe you were one. They intended for you to understand that when you make mistakes, you have to correct that, but you don't get to live that way, right? This is very important. It's extremely important for us to understand this. By the way, y'all, share. Our friend is going to come soon. He's going to come in just a few minutes. Yes. What we got to really understand, y'all, too, is the only way to protect Black freedom is for us to believe that there are people who this country has locked up who are innocent people. Absolutely. Some of them are innocent people. Sure, most of them are innocent people. And when I say it that way, I'm saying that we have to be very careful not to over criminalize, right? Just because somebody's in jail. You know, what's interesting is back in the 60s, when folks like King went to jail, right? Andy Young went to jail. Almost all the civil rights leaders went to jail, right? What's so interesting about that is back then when folks went to jail, Black people would put together bail funds and get them out, right? Come on, somebody. Black people would put together bail funds and get Black folks out of jail. Why did we stop that? Because we stopped believing in the righteousness of our own people. Everybody knew King was right. Everybody knew John Lewis didn't do it. Everybody knew C.T. Vivian didn't have any business in jail. Everybody knew that Fannie Lou Hamer didn't have any business in jail. But y'all, are we saying the same thing about Kevin, who's in jail? Are we saying the same thing about Quantavious, who's in jail? Are we saying a similar thing, right, about Elizabeth, right? Are we saying a similar thing about Tom, who's in jail? And if not, then we're giving our children over into a system that's absolutely positively committed to their very destruction. And what we have to get very clear about, even as children, we have to teach our children ways to avoid and stay out of the criminal justice system. Is that right? We got to teach our kids ways to stay out of it, avoid it, stay away from it completely and totally altogether, right? That's extremely important, extremely important. We got to tell our children things like, listen, smoking weed is not worth enough for you to go to jail for that. It's not worth enough for that. It's not worth enough for that. Don't have a gun and have it illegally. Come on, somebody. You got to register that thing. Come on, somebody, if you have it at all. If you have it at all. We got to tell folks that, hey, listen, you don't jump on the police. Am I talking good to somebody? You don't jump on the police. You don't jump on the police. When the police pull you over, right? We all know what to do. You put your hands up. You put your hands up. That's right. If it hurts your feelings, we can heal your feelings. What we cannot do is resurrect your body. That's so good. That's so good. We can heal your feelings. We cannot resurrect your body. So listen, what we've got to be very careful about is making sure that we teach our children to stay out of the criminal justice system. Stay out of it completely, as much as we can possibly avoid it. Stay away from it. Stay away from it totally, completely, and altogether. Because it is a snare and it is a trap. It will do nothing but ruin and destroy our lives. So this prison abolition movement, right? This prison abolition movement is a movement where we're saying, listen, maybe there's another way to do rehabilitation. Maybe there's another way to do punishment. And see, we have to be very careful, because if we're not careful in America, America loves punishment. Stay with me now, stay with me. America loves punishment. America loves punishment of the Black body. America loves beating of the Black body. Woo! America loves kicking the Black body. America loves raping the Black body. America loves demeaning, degrading of the Black body. And in these kinds of ways, we as Black people, we have to teach our own self-love. We have to teach our own love of this Black body. And we have to teach it to each other. And we got to do it over and 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 over again. We got to teach ourselves that our feet are beautiful. That's right. I hear so many Black folks talk about their feet. Oh, I have ugly feet. Ooh. Gosh, that's a deep thing. That's a deep thing. There are I know lots of people, especially brothers, who won't even wear their feet out at all. All summer long will wear socks because my feet are bad. My feet are not pretty, right? That's a problem in terms of self-love, right? Also, the ways in which we can revert far too easily, right, to physicality and physical violence when we disagree, right? I want us to get to a place as Black people where our disagreements, right, we won't even allow ourselves to physically accost each other, period. Where I won't do it to you, brother, and brother, you won't do it to me. We may disagree. Yes, we may even disagree intensely, but I will not. My goal, my aim is not to demean your body. That's the way we save this Black body from a criminal justice system, right? Ooh, that's the way we save it. That's the way we save it. That's the way we save it, by loving on it ourselves, right? And this is so important. It's so absolutely important, because if we don't do this, we are constantly under scrutiny, right? We're constantly under scrutiny. Black bodies are constantly under scrutiny, from sexual innuendos, to people's worth and value being put in what our bodies look like. And it's really time for us to evolve past that. There are so many people, y'all, so many people in our communities that are single. And part of the reason they're single is because of their issues with their bodies. Some of us is, well, you know, I'm too large, I'm too thick. Sometimes I'm too thin. If I just had, if I just had just a little more hair. We buy hair, we buy other people's hair. And we're buying hair because we think we need something to beautify this Blackness, this Black body. Y'all, the only thing we need is the clarity that we are beautiful and we are divine and we are amazing and we are wonderful and we are awesome. That's all really we need, right? That is all we need. Listen, here's our visitor. Here's our visitor. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Yes. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's up, brother? How you doing?
How are you, Mr.
I am hanging in there, brother.
Yes. Yes.
I will be a fool to complain.
Mr. Malcolm Jamal Warner. My God. That's my brother, y'all. That's my brother. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Man, I appreciate you being here, dude.
Got it, brother. It took us a minute to get it together, but
here we are.
Here we are.
So we're in the right place. We're in the right place. So I was just talking about prison abolition, man, and the prison abolition movement and the importance of that movement and why that movement is so important and why it's so important for us to honor our own bodies as Black people, right? And so I think what I would like to ask of you is just, what is your position on the prison abolition movement? What do you think about it? What's your commitment to it? What do you think are the pros or the cons?
Sure. I mean, I think we're in a place where we get, we have this. I don't know, I feel like we've gotten fooled into this belief that, prison is about rehabilitation and restoration.
Right.
When really at the end of the day, it's more about punishment than
That's right.
than actually, rehabilitating,
That's right.
certain behaviors. And I think, with the prison abolition movement, it's really a movement to do as much in the preventative state,
Yes.
than just the punishment state. Because when you look at so many crimes that are committed, if you look at the basis or the background or what's lacking in so many people's lives, and it's weird because, like, on one hand it can sound new agey and esoteric and corny, but I always have the saying that even thugs need hugs, and we're just in a place where if we were allowed to create a society based on love as opposed to competitiveness.
Right. Right.
But we've been, but the other thing about it is we've been designed.
That's right.
We've been conditioned to think
Right.
about competition and
Right.
and think about ourselves, and not really the whole do unto others as you would have others do unto you.
Right.
We don't really live. We're not conditioned to live by those kind of values.
That's right. That's right. That's absolutely right. That's absolutely right. And do you know personally, do you have friends or family who are incarcerated?
Yeah. And in some cases, some of us feel like, we have failed, those people because we didn't, take more, reach out more, take more responsibility. So it's a tricky thing, man. It's not tricky. It's a very multi-layered, topic.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And how do you feel that, the incarceration rates in America, how do you feel like this is a reflection of, like, contemporary notions of white supremacy?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, just when you just look at how the prison system had even really been established,
right?
Because before, punishment was doled out. You got stoned to death. Somebody was put on the firing range.
Right.
You still, your hand gets cut off. And it really wasn't until the abolition of slavery that this whole prison, system, the 13th Amendment, and, really being able to keep the freed slaves enslaved.
That's right.
By putting them in prison. That's and right. you look at, the beginning of that, and you look at where we are now, and you look at the disproportionate numbers of people of color who are incarcerated. And it's also a reflection of business, because private prisons are making crazy dough.
Man. Oops, man.
Businesses are getting over on cheap labor.
Right. Absolutely. And do you know any women who are imprisoned?
Yeah. Actually, it's interesting. I know someone who had been in prison for quite some time, and her experience turned out to be a restorative one.
Yes.
So those cases do exist. We can't act like no one goes in and comes out and isn't hasn't changed their perspective and their ways of life. Like, that's a very real occurrence as well. But when you look at the ratio of people who have that experience, because the prison system isn't really designed for that.
Right. And what's your sense, Malcolm, of, if you had to guess, right? What's your sense of the percentage of folks you think who are in prison and innocent?
Oh, wow. I couldn't even throw, I couldn't even really throw out a number, but I'm quite sure there's a large percentage of, very large percentage of people who are locked up and are innocent.
Oh yeah.
Just you think about the people who are locked up because they can't afford a $75 bail.
Isn't that crazy, man?
And been locked up for quite some time.
Crazy.
Yeah.
$75.
Yeah, man.
So crazy. And as I was saying earlier, there was a day when Black folks used to take up bail funds back in the 60s for folks who were locked up.
Yeah. But that's the thing too. When you look at, my grandfather, rest in peace, when I was a kid, he used to talk about how integration messed up the Black community.
Yes.
And as a kid, I didn't, I'm in elementary school and I go to school with white kids. I got some white friends, and I never really understood what he meant until I got older.
Mm-hmm.
And I totally understood what he meant. So, just, to your point, the 60s were also a point where, Black people banded together much more because they had to, because there was this common cause and this necessary dependency upon each other that we don't have now. We have a lot of, there is, I can't act like there is no unity, but it's just not, it's not in the same, it's not to the same extent as it was when, we were all fighting for the cause.
Right. Absolutely. And, the other thing that I think has gotten tricky in this contemporary hour is the ways in which sometimes the ways in which we as Black folks can also be guilty of making the same assumptions about Black guilt or about Black criminality. Right.
Sure. Yeah.
Even things like, here comes some young men and their pants are sagging and they're wearing hoodies.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean criminal.
Yeah. I think we've all been conditioned, we've all been, but that gets me going down a whole nother, road in terms of, the messages, look, I've grown up, as part of the hip hop community. Hip hop has been a huge, part and influence on my life. But, we also have to acknowledge the detriment that hip hop is doing to, our young Black kids with regard to the messages.
Absolutely.
That are being sent out there.
Say more about that.
So it's weird. So I have there's this whole, I often get accused of identity politics because, when I talk about, there's the, when Obama was talking about pull your pants up and there's a certain level of self-respect that we carried once again in the 60s.
Right.
That we have been programmed and, or rather, a certain level of self-respect that we've been deprogrammed from and conditioned out of. So, I've been a huge hip hop listener again, like, way more than half of my life, almost all of my life.
Right.
And, I get bothered when I hear and see these messages. And I've been talking about, I talk about it in my music. I've talked about it in my music since day one. So this is it's not a new sentiment. Right. But as I get older, it's just, it's more true and more true. And a lot of it has to do with, these young kids today grew up watching us, listen to what we were listening to.
Right.
And there's a certain responsibility that we have to take.
That's right.
Because of, what we entertained. And at a certain age, we didn't really understand the detriment and the long game in this programming, young Black mentality.
That's right. That's right. That's absolutely right. And the other thing is, it would be wrong, I think, to blame hip hop alone, right?
Sure.
Because even the music prior to hip hop, back when I was a kid, man, a lot of that music was absolutely problematic.
Yeah.
But the thing I do think is true is, I think we are less conscious now of the ways in which our language formation, our images and our music absolutely contribute to this idea of the creation of a kind of glorified criminal life.
Yes. Yeah. So it's so back to your point about, the sagging jeans and the hoodie, we're also, because of that glorified criminal life,
right?
At some point, it is hard to distinguish, who's who and what's what.
Right.
And once again, the level of self-respect and how Black folks carried themselves, in the 60s, in the 50s and the 40s, we don't have that now.
Right.
Right.
That's right. That's absolutely right. And how did you, as a Black young man, right? How did you avoid the criminal justice system?
Well, I mean, look, I was very, by the time I was 14, I was very fortunate. I mean, I grew up on, obviously the #1 show in the world. So that, for, to a large extent, protected me from, a lot of situations. I get pulled over, they run my place, look at my license. Oh,
Gotcha.
but even with that, the way I walk through life and the way I've always carried myself in public, I was never a knucklehead. After a couple of experiences, I learned, not to mouth off at cops. You talk to them with respect. You talk to them with respect, the less chance you're gonna have issues. Not that it
won't, right?
Yeah, but the less chance,
Right.
And and prior to Cosby, my mother, my father, a wing and a prayer. To be 100% honest. I mean, one of the reasons I started acting, it wasn't so much to become an actor. It was because my mother was always looking for things for me to do outside of school and just hanging out with my friends.
Yes.
So she always, was playing basketball. When the acting, it was acting community theater, and when that came about, and she saw that was something that I really enjoyed and really dug, then that was the carrot she was able to use in terms of making sure that I took care of, all of my responsibilities. So she did a lot of stuff to keep me from just hanging out.
I understand.
I used to come home from school. I was part of that, the latchkey kid generation, right?
Yeah.
So I'd come home from school. My mom would be at work, but there was a whole list of chores that I had to do. Between cleaning my room, washing dishes,
right.
Cleaning the kitchen,
right.
And at some point, when I started doing stuff, too fast, she, for a long time, I used to have to wash out my underwear and socks in the bathroom sink and hang them up. Like, she was always finding things for me to do because she really, she gave me space, but she really, didn't want me to be out there getting caught up.
Right. Absolutely. When you were, let me see, I want to ask this clearly. When you were younger, were you taught that the police, policemen are your friends?
I mean, in school you're taught that. But then when you start, when you get out of school and you're living real life, you at least I learned that was not always the case. I wasn't taught that all cops are bad.
Right, right.
But I was taught that there are a lot of, bad apples out there. Not just a few, it's a lot of bad apples. And again, that's why my parents instilled in me, like, don't be a knucklehead. You have to interact with cops, be respectful.
Right.
Don't start, my dad was very active in the civil rights movement. So, he got locked up a couple of times, for the way he interacted with cops and what his behavior provoked.
Yeah.
So from his personal experiences, he just always was impeding upon me, to talk to them with respect.
And I'm gonna put us on the spot here for a minute. If you had your way, if we had our own vote, would you vote for integration? Meaning, would you vote now for segregation again?
Wow, I never thought about that. I don't think I would, okay. but I think I would. I would fight for educating, educating the country and educating the world, giving a real education about, equality, where we all stand in this world, and really, even, make it mandatory for this country to understand how and why race was created in the first place. Why, the black codes were created, why Jim Crow was created, why white people were conditioned to believe that they were better than us.
Right. I might vote for segregation again, to be
okay. Honest. Well, I could dig it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm out on the limb, right?
Yeah.
I might vote for it. The truth of the matter is, we have it in so many ways.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Integration.
How about that? Yeah.
Integration never really occurred.
Yeah. Because
when you move Black people into white spaces, that's not integration. Right? That's not integration. Integration is when both parties move into each other's spaces. Shipping Black kids to white schools is not integration. That's bowing down to white supremacy.
See, and so that's the experience that my elementary and junior high school experience was specifically that. They bust for the first semester, they bust half of us out to the white schools out in the Palisades, but they bust half of those white kids to our school. So that's that was the busing exchange program in which I grew up. So I think that's very definitely a valid and I think necessary part of understanding, what's really happening.
Right.
In both cultures being fully immersed in each other's culture.
Absolutely. And see, I think a minute or two of segregation these days would give us as Black people the space and the time to actually have conversations and to pull together economic resources, to pull together educational resources that would allow us to do things for our children whereby we wouldn't have to fight, or we would have to justify it to others who see no worth and no value in it. Right? It seems to me that we are always at the mercy of respectability politics. It seems like we're always at the mercy of if white folks agree, making this work and justify for white folks, white kids. And I feel like that always costs us somehow. Now, I do not think that there should ever be a place or a time where, Black people can't move to a certain place and white people can't move to in certain neighborhoods and all that. No. But what I do think is that segregation would force us as Black people to really answer the question, what do we want right now? What do we want? And how do we want to do it? Right?
Yeah, that's powerful.
Because also, if America was committed to doing equality, right? If America was committed to doing equality, I'm for it all day long. Right. I see no evidence that America's committed to doing equality. We've been fighting and seeking and protesting and praying and marching, right? And we still marching.
Yeah.
So somewhere Blackness, Black life, Black value always gets compromised. And gets compromised in such a way that we come up with the short end of the stick, it seems to me.
Yeah, I get that. And I think now, where we are now, there again, I go back to the conditioning, because we're not only fighting the system, more so now we're fighting the system and we're fighting ourselves as well.
Right. Absolutely. No, absolutely right. Most people may know or may not know that this great brother is actually a wordsmith. Did you hear me? This brother is a word master. Seriously, y'all. Seriously.
I appreciate that.
I asked Brother Malcolm if he would share something from his amazing oeuvre in terms of his spoken word. No, and seriously, if you have not learned, if you have not seen this brother do spoken word, it's another level. Well, you're about to see it. So Malcolm, share something with us.
All right, cool. So I know we talked about the prison abolition piece, which is it's a very new piece. It's less than a week old. So, normally I don't read my poetry, but because this is because it's so new, I'm going to have to read it.
Okay.
So yeah.
Go for it.
All right. It's I call it comfort food. You can almost choke on the shameless, seductive smoke evoked by lies the mirror hides. The sleight of hand fans the flame of deception, singeing the truth in the cleverest of fashion and then sold as baked goods. Apple pie sweet, just enough to pamper a pauper's palate. And we feast fast because we've got that human hunger, soul starved, spirit searching to be fed anything that feels good. And let's be real, lies feel good, right? Like a cherry tree myth. And America's lies, seasoned with cunning deceit and sauteed with just enough arrogance to be addictive, makes us feel good about ourselves as we lead the world of the free. So we lead with an incarcerated 2.3 million. That's more bars than Tariq Trotter sliding free on that Calvin Broadus weed while caught up on a Deepak Chopra type flow. See, America knows how this fascinating infatuation goes with seeing those we deem guilty suffer. Strange fruit often hung. Black bodies swung in service of great white lies. Dripping blood, spectating eyes could never see seep into the soil of our conflicted humanity. We respond to justice, real or perceived, much quicker than we are soothed by the scattered seeds of restoration. I mean, sure, at its core, we believe in rehabilitation, but as a society, we seem to believe in punishment much more. So we fool ourselves into believing prisons are built to be where bad apples get restored. That the same prison system put in place to enslave post-Civil War is supposed to promote progress in healing whatever harms put people within arm's reach of the unfortunate side of the law, where wounds reopen, scabs ripped raw, rights stripped, tight-lipped screams, tight ship means freedom belongs only to the daringest of dreamers. Prison is where the dope and dopamine addicts go to get treatment by being mistreated. Repeatedly defeated by a system that tries to rehabilitate a life of crime at the same time it breeds it. When the prison pipeline shows hunger, the streets and the schools are there to feed it. Gourmet, flambe, however the system needs it. Oh, how privatization savors the flavor of cheap prison labor. Reclaimed, roasted slave trade tossed in the mush of unrefined modern-day mild meat sauce, while we continue to bear the cost of a broken system the DOC can't correct. The required steps for true transformation hardly get met. The concept of restorative justice becomes one of neglect, and recidivism is where private prisons collect on their hedge bets. So how can we expect re-entry into society by the incarcerated who've been deprived of their dignity, disenfranchised, cast aside, and then expect them to live normal lives when gainful employment is as elusive as Lady Justice's blind eye? The justice system is broken and sick, and as in need of rehabilitation as the citizens it fails to rehabilitate.
Yes, sir.
So let's imagine, right? Let's imagine if there was more stake in taking stock of society's symptoms before the sickness set in. And imagine if we cared more about prevention than vengeful, vindictive detention, right? Imagine instead of a punishment band, we aid in healing the ills of education. And we all take a stand against the economic inequity upon which our country runs. Reallocate funds to create a society where self-love suffices. Eradicate social devices, and where in the end, we all win. Just imagine that. Can you imagine that?
Wow. Man.
That's it.
Man, y'all share this with everybody you know.
My man.
Oh my gosh.
My man, thank you, brother.
Man.
Thank you. Thank you, brother.
Man. I just love your consciousness, man. I really love, and seriously, Malcolm, I love your consciousness. And I love your humility. Brother, I just love your humility. I really do.
I appreciate that.
And for a brother to have humility like that, you had to intentionally decide to have it. You know, humility is hard to come by.
Yeah, well, you know, my parents are, just amazing individuals. And I always talk about, people always hear me talk about my mother, more. But, I talk about my parents, and my parents, my dad has been remarried for 40 years. So my parents aren't together.
Okay.
But they have been best friends my entire life. Like they're still like brother and sister.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So I grew up in that kind of environment. Like, I was, their relationship has had a significant impact on, my relationships. With women and ex relationships, if you will.
Right.
But my I think two really important things, one from each parent. My father named me after Malcolm X and Ahmad Jamal. Okay. So he kind of set me up.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
And it wasn't until I was I was about 15 when I got it and I figured it out. And I called him. I said, "You set me up, man." And he just laughed. So he's really proud because just all of the stuff that he instilled in me as a young kid. I said, my parents separated when I was 3. They got divorced when I was 6. I grew up, primarily with my mother in LA, but during the summers I would be in Chicago, with my dad and that side of my family. And during the summers, my father would always have me reading. So I'm 6, 7 years old reading about Malcolm X. My father had this thick book, Great American Negroes. And there's chapters on Richard Wright, Langston Hughes, Mary McLeod Bethune, Marian Anderson, just everybody. And he would make me read these chapters and write book reports. And this is during my summer vacations. I'm 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. So he really instilled a level of consciousness in me at a really young age.
Yes, sir.
And then when Cosby came out and took off, like wildfire, my mother sat me down and said, listen, baby, it's great that this show is the phenomenon that it is, but you know how this business is. This show is not going to last forever. What are you going to do when this show is over? She said, I can type, I can always get a job, but what are you going to do when the show is over? So she impressed upon me the concept of longevity, and she was like, if you want to be in this business, for the rest of your life, if you want to have longevity, then you have to find things that are going to keep you occupied during those dry spells. Because she said, you look at anyone in this industry who has had longevity in their career, they've had dry spells. There are times where you're hot, there are times when you're not.
That's right.
So you got to figure out what you're going to do during those times when you're not hot, so you don't have to make desperate acting choices to pay your bills. That's right. So between the two, they're really, they're really the people who planted the seeds for that consciousness and for that humility. Because it's and Mr. Cosby used to say, it's a marathon. He said, people out here sprinting, but they don't realize it's a marathon. Wow,
man, that's beautiful. Every week, typically, we do Proverbs, right? I'll share Proverbs, and we share Proverbs on some similar topic, right? And so, what I'd like to do, just to take a few more minutes of your time, is I want to give a couple of Proverbs about freedom, right? And I want you, if you don't mind, to tell us what you understand this proverb means.
Okay.
Oh gosh. You're fine, brother. You're fine. All right, here are the Proverbs, folks. Here are the Proverbs. Proverb number 1. Freedom is not worth having if it doesn't include the freedom to make mistakes. Freedom is not worth having if it doesn't include the freedom to make mistakes.
I mean, it's like, that's not really freedom.
Right. Yeah,
you'd be lulled into a false sense of freedom.
Yes. And I think so many of us try to figure out how not to make mistakes. But freedom is the ability to make the mistake. Right. And the ability to correct it and move on forward. In fact, it's bondage. It's bondage trying to tiptoe so closely, right, that one does not err. That's imprisonment.
You're 100% correct. Man.
All right, here's the next one. Let's see, what did I do with it here? Okay. The bird born in a cage thinks flying is an illness.
I love that one. I love that one. And again, we talk about conditioning. It's like you grow up and you're in elementary school or junior high school, and you actually speak proper English.
Right.
And kids around you tell you you're acting white.
That's right.
And the bird born in the cage doesn't even really realize that they're in the cage.
Exactly. Isn't that deep? And doesn't realize that flying is their inheritance.
Yes.
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 Isn't that crazy? Just it's like how did they miss that? But it's because their context is limited.
Deliberately.
Deliberately.
Intentionally so, yeah.
Exactly.
And that's the thing. I always talk about. Again, I always feel like I have to make the disclaimer that I grew up on hip hop. I grew up as part of the hip hop community.
Right.
So when I'm critical of hip hop, people accuse me of hating. But my thing is, what we're not understanding is we're drinking the Kool-Aid.
That's right. That's right.
The perspectives we have, the way we think about the world, the way we think about ourselves, the way we think about our women, the whole niggas, bitches, and hoes. We're drinking the Kool-Aid. They're programming us to think that.
Man, don't get me started with that. You're right. We drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, and I remember you said something, man, about a year and a half ago. I remember calling you, and I was just I was in my like, it was something about hip hop, and it was just like, and I remember having a conversation with you, and you talked about how this hip hop generation, they're mad, they're angry, and they're angry at us. They're angry at us. The love, the attention,
that's right,
the discipline, the education,
that's right,
that they did not get. It's a cry. All that is a cry for help.
That's right.
And that really helped me kind of put that into perspective and let go of the angst and low level contempt that was beginning to build.
Yes.
You gave me that perspective, and it kind of, it calmed me down a bit and made me, relook at everything with a certain level of empathy that had begun to dissipate.
Yes. Absolutely. Okay, let's do another proverb.
Okay.
Let's see. How about this one? Freedom is the ability to sing your own song, regardless of what it sounds like.
I need that one like tattooed on my forehead.
Yes.
Yeah, that is freedom, man. That's the ultimate place where I want to be.
Yes. Yeah,
I love that.
Absolutely. All right, we'll do one more.
Okay.
Oh, this is a good one. Once you get free, don't drag your chains behind you.
Right. Be free.
Be free.
Be free. Yes.
But that's easy to do.
Yeah. No doubt. Yeah.
Bringing your chains along is easy to do.
Yeah. And when you're free, those chains have no place in your new space.
That's right.
But also, when you have the chains for so long, the chains get so comfortable.
That's right. That's
that's
man.
Let them go.
That's it.
Yeah.
Those chains get so comfortable.
Yeah.
That we actually feel like we need them.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like how you can get enslaved to a job. When really
relationship.
Relationships or anything. Absolutely. Well, man, let me tell you this. Let me just say thank you. Let me bow before you. I absolutely honor you. I thank you.
Bless you.
We saw this gorgeous little princess behind you at one point earlier. I said, there goes my niece. There she is.
Yeah.
I cannot believe how big she's gotten. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's crazy. Every day.
Crazy, man. That's crazy. But Malcolm, thank you for your time. Thank you for your energy. Thank you for your willingness. Thank you for your humility. And thank you for your love of Black people.
Yeah, man. Yeah. We are at the end of the day, we really are all we got.
That's right. We really, really are.
Yeah, truly. And I get humbled, when I talk to brothers who, have grown up, watching the show, watching me, and you go through life, and I know it's in life, but like especially in my industry, there's so many negative people, so many, just evil people,
Yeah.
who seem like they get over,
Right.
and
Right.
just get everything they want, and then at some point you're like, well, why am I bothering, being the good person?
That's right.
Like, who really cares?
That's right. That's right.
And I get I get wonderfully humbled when I am actually reminded that there are people who are watching, and people who actually do care, and it kind of keeps me in check.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like, I'm going through. I think that the other reason, just going through life, even at the height of what Cosby was, the show, and I guess and the man too, but just going through life, I understood that when when I'm walking through the world, I was not just representing my mother, my father. I was also representing the Cosby Show and everything that stood for. So, I was always just very acutely aware, of my actions, because I didn't want to, and I still, I don't want to do anything that is going to further perpetuate the stereotype of who we are as people. And that's one of the reasons why I don't, even though I work a lot, I don't always work as often as I feel I should. But I say no to a lot of work. I say no to a lot of things because I have no interest in perpetuating those negative stereotypes. And fortunately, the thing I also have to understand that I do have the luxury of having the wherewithal to be able to say no. To a host of things, and not have to be concerned about my bills being paid.
Right.
But
I was celebrating Cicely Tyson earlier, who in an interview once said a similar thing, and that is, she said no to so many things because she refused to just be a buffoon.
Yeah.
Right, but there's so many of you guys and ladies in Hollywood, and nobody knows the price you all have paid for what you have. Nobody knows what you said, oh, hell no to, because it was going to be some caricature of Blackness. But thank you. Man, you are my friend.
Yes, sir.
You are my brother.
Yes, sir. Yes,
and I honor you. I honor you in ways that I cannot tell you. But I thank you for your precious, precious time. And we're going to talk again really soon.
No doubt. I appreciate you, Brother Baba. Dr. Baba. All right, man. Love you, brother.
Love you, brother.
All right.
Talk to you. Wow, folks. Wow. Malcolm Jamal Warner. Yes. Theo, absolutely. Listen, we're pulling folks from the north, the south, the east, and the west. Y'all, after all this is said and done, right? Blackness is going to prevail. Blackness is going to win. It's going to win. Blackness is going to win. I have a few other proverbs I'm going to share. If y'all have another few minutes, and can hang with me, great, right? I got a few other proverbs. Most people like the proverbs, so I'm gonna give them to you since I found them. All right, next proverb: better to be a free dog than a caged lion. Better to be a free dog than a caged lion. Baby, that thing blesses me. Ooh. Next one. If a man does only what is required of him, he is a slave. Ooh. If a woman does only what's required of her, she is a slave. Ooh. Ooh, that thing blesses me. If one does more than what is required, therein is freedom. Maybe that thing blesses me. Here's another one. True obedience is true freedom. True obedience is true freedom. Oh, wow. True obedience is true freedom. Yes, 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 yes. That thing blesses me. I love this one too. We attain freedom when we value what someone else thinks, just not everyone else. Ooh! We attain freedom when we value what someone else thinks, but not everyone else. Golly, that thing blesses me. Next one. Give children too much freedom and you will lose yours. Give children too much freedom and you will lose yours. The worst thing in the world you can do is to raise a child with no boundaries. The worst thing in the world you can do, y'all, is to raise a child with no boundaries, with no limitations, with no structure. It's the worst thing in the world you can do, because you are going to literally have to fight them the rest of their lives. You're going to have to fight them the rest of their lives as they blame you, wow, for their lack of discipline. And the last proverb for today. Your freedom begins the day you realize there is no one competing against you but you. Your freedom begins the day you realize no one is competing against you but you. Hey, I love y'all. Y'all are so powerful. You are so amazing. You're so fantastic. You're so ennobled. You are so grand. You are so magnificent. Have a good day. Love y'all.